right, today in this video, we are going to be dividing whole numbers by decimals. So this is super similar to yesterday, except a little bit different. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that first one. 327 divided by 5/10. Remember yesterday we really focused on look, line, divide. So today we are going to really focus on that look. If we look, there is a decimal in our divisor. Cannot have a decimal in the divisor, so we're going to swoop it out to the right. So we're going to put our pin on that decimal and swoop to the right one. So that decimal is at the end. But now, if we swooped it in the divisor, you have to swoop it in the dividend. So with 327, we're going to pretend it's 327 and $0. So we're going to put a decimal there and swoop it once. So we have to add a 0. We're going to swoop that once, put our decimal right here at the end, and we have a 0 added there. It looks complicated, but actually it's super easy. Now all we have to do is divide. 5 cannot go into 3, so I'm going to put a 0. 5 can go into 32 6 times because 5 times 6 is 30. 2 minus 0 is 2. Bring down the 7. Remember, we're using does McDonald's sell burgers? We just brought it down. Let's divide. 5 into 27 can go 5 times because 5 times 5 is 25. Let's subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. Bring down the 0. 5 into 20 can go 4 times because 5 times 4 is 20. So my answer is 654. Looks good, looks good. Let's go ahead and dive into that second one. That second one, we're going to look, and you see 96 divided by 1 and 6/10. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Swoop that decimal once. Put a decimal at the end of 96 and swoop it once. Remember, if you swoop a decimal in the divisor, you have to swoop it in the dividend. Now we just divide 16 into 96. I wonder how many times that goes. I'm going to try 5 and see what happens. 5 times 6 is 30. That gets me 80. So let's try 16 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. There you go. So 16 can go into 96 6 times because 16 times 6 is 96. Now we just subtract. Bring down the 0. 16 can go into 0 times. And my answer is 60. Super simple, just division. Let's do one more together, and then you can do the last 3 on your own. First things first, I forgot to put a line on this one. Oops. First things first, let's look. We're going to swoop that decimal in divisor. You have to look and find that decimal and swoop it out. Put a decimal at the end, swoop it out. Same direction, everything the same. Decimal at the end, bring it up. Here's our 0. We could have put a decimal at the end of all of our answers, but remember, it really doesn't matter as long as it's at the end. Now all we have to do is divide. 6 can go into 13. 6 can go into 1 0 times. 6 can go into 13 2 times because 2 times 6 is 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. Bring down the 2. 6 can go into 12 2 times because 6 times 2 is 12. Now this is where it can get tricky because some of you will just be like, okay, I'm done. But there's nothing over the 0. We have to say, bring down that 0. 6 can go into 0 times. If you didn't do that step, you would have gotten 22 as your answer. When really the answer is 220. So that's why you have to be super careful about making sure you're finishing your decimal division. Want to make sure we put a number over each number in the dividend. All right, let's try these last 3. Remember, we are going to look, line, divide. Look, line, divide. Go ahead and get started on 832 divided by 26/100. For this one, if you looked, you would see you need to swoop that decimal twice. From the 26/100, we get it out here to just be 26. We're going to put a decimal at the end of 832 and swoop it once, twice. Make sure we add those 2 zeros in. Looks good. 26 into 83. I predict only 2 times, so let's say 26 times 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I wonder if it'll go again. 26 times 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Wow, it did. It won't go again, though. So 26 can go into 83 3 times. Make sure we have that 0 first. 3 times 26 is 78. Go ahead and borrow 13, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's a 5. Bring down the 2. 26 into 52. I can see right here that it goes 2 times. That's why it's good to keep your multiples there on the side. 2 times 26 is 52. Again, if you were to stop here, you'd get the wrong answer. Bring down that 0. 26 into 0 can go 0 times. 0 times 26 is 0. Bring down that last 0. It can go 0 times. Make sure you bring down everything you're supposed to bring down because your answer should be 3,200. If you got 32, it means you did not bring down your zeros like we should have. All right, go ahead and try 812 divided by 1 4/10. For this one, you should have swooped it out once. So put a decimal at the end, swoop it out 1 time, add a 0. 14 into 81, because it can't go into 8. I'm going to try 14 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. That's 70. Let's try 14 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Uh-oh, that's 84. So 14 can go into 81 5 times, and that gets me 70. If I subtract, I'm going to get 112. Wow. Let's try 14 times 7. 4 times 7 is 28. That's 98. Let's try 14 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 112. Looks good, looks good. Remember, we're not going to have any remainders in these. 8 times 14 we know is 112. Bring down that 0. 14 can go into 0 times. That means my answer was 580. If you got 58, you did not finish the problem with the last 0. All right, last problem. Let's do 516 divided by 12 hundredths. For this one, you should have swooped out twice. So put a decimal at the end, swoop out twice, add 2 zeros, and let's divide. 12 into 51. I know that 12 times 5 is 60, and 12 times 4 is 48. So I know it's 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. Let's borrow. 9, 10, 11, 36. I know that 12 times 3 is 36. Let's subtract. Bring down that 0. 12 can go into 0 times. Bring down that last 0. 12 can go into 0 times. Your answer is 4,300. If you got 43, you did not bring down your zeros. You got to be super careful to make sure you're bringing down the zeros and doing all of the parts of the problem. Looks good, looks good. Remember, if you have any questions, to make sure and ask.